People of Reddit. What small choice you made changed your life? Decided to take a different route home one day and stumbled upon a little coffee shop. Met the owner, got to talking, and ended up with a job offer. That job led to a career shift I never planned, but absolutely love. All because I was bored of my usual commute and craved a different view. Proof that sometimes the scenic route really does pay off. My dad asked me to go with him to take my sister to dance one morning. I wasn't dressed, and it's boring, so said no. They died in a car crash on the way home. I think about it that about 100 times a day. Pity instead of anger. I used to have some severe anger issues. Just angry at everything and everyone. Everything pissed me off. Everyone aggravated me. I had a therapist that worked with me on a meditation technique of pondering the things that pissed me or made me angry the most and then working from the anger to pity. For instance, I held on to deep-rooted and very justified anger towards my dad. In my meditation, when I would think about my dad and childhood and as my thoughts and memory wandered and I felt myself getting angry, I would refocus my thoughts to pity for him. He has severe mental illnesses. He is probably lost in his own chaos of a mind and is always feeling alone and angry at himself. Changing the thoughts from animosity and anger to pity and feeling sorry for him. After a couple decades of this practice, it has become the default thought process. Thoughts are no longer what a piece of shit, or I hate it when people do that, but now is I wonder what drove them to this, or that must be horrible for them to live that way and think that way. I am a much happier person now and have much healthier social interactions with pity and empathy, rather than anger and fear. Lessen soda consumption and ditching it entirely. My belly gradually disappeared. My childhood friend told me that it's okay to stop doing things that I didn't like. That I should do things that I want to do. Very simply put, and yet it freed me. Reading half an hour every day. It's amazing how slow I see everything now. I was sitting at my friend's bar while he was printing up a help wanted sign. I hadn't done service industry in 20 years, but I had just spent 4 years unemployed because I was taking care of my failing parents and I really didn't want to go back to the tech industry. I told him I wished I could work for him. He said you can. Just come in tomorrow and fill out paperwork. Later that evening I texted him, "Were you serious?" And he replied, "Come in tomorrow." Been there for 8 years now. It's the best job I've ever had. Even my therapist says it's the best thing I've done for my mental health. Stop having a messy room. I swear having a clean room will give you an overall more positive and motivated mindset. Tit next to the blonde guy in college. We've formed a company now. Drinking water and tea only. I feel so much better without soda. Taking a different route home. Choosing to attend a local networking event unexpectedly connected me with someone who offered me a life-changing job opportunity. 25 years old, working as a waitress bartender for 5 years. Went down to the local community college one late August day to just get some information about how to become a nurse. Sat down and talked with the professor, who before I could even think about it or change my mind, signed me up on the spot, and a year later, boom, I was an LPN. Fast forward 6 years later, I was an RN. Now it's 30 years later and I'm still at it, but it gave me a good life and the ability to save for retirement hopefully in 18 months. Deciding to skip that one party and study instead. Giving up drugs and alcohol. While my social life has gotten a little more boring, it's nice not feeling fried or hungover from substances, and I feel my brain healing. I agreed to help score a cricket match just after COVID because I was going crazy stuck in my house. I was terrible at it, but came back the next week anyway. Now I have a whole new group of people who are fun and supportive and challenge me to do more and better things. I was in such a dark place before, and now I have a whole future and a big group of friends. It sounds so silly, but just saying yes to that one thing got me out of a rut and back on a beautiful path. Dad, their biological mom, had sadly passed away a few months prior, and when I began dating their dad the second I first held them, they were 4 months old when I met them. Something awoke in my heart. To this day, they're now 16 and I'm still with their dad. They don't refer to me as their stepmom, they just call me mom, but they know the truth of what happened to their biological mother. I decided to ignore blood in my stool. 2 years later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 terminal colon cancer. Get checked ASAP, ask your doctor for if it was 16 when this happened. Still working through it. I was engaged at 24, we called it off, a mutual decision. She went on to eventually marry and have 2 kids and raised a beautiful family. I moved out of state, worked for 3 beverage companies that all ended up getting bought. Not retirement money, but allowed me to travel, live in full amenity lofts in downtowns, and go to every concert festival I wanted. I realized I wasn't the family person and glad we didn't get in a situation that would have been detrimental to everyone, especially if we got married and had kids. Less people-pleasing, it was hard but worth the effort. Deciding to take that random job offer led to everything else. Saying one thing when talking with my friend while severely tired, due to which we ended up confessing to each other and starting dating. Said friend has been an absolutely fantastic GF and I would not trade the world for her. Alternatively, me deciding to send her a message that led to us starting talking and eventually dating. Reduce my alcohol intake. I always drink water at a bar and can still have a great night. Stay hydrated the whole night and can get home sober and safe. The best part is I can remember the night and how fun it was. A friend asked if I wanted to go for a drive with him to pick up his friend from college. I had nothing better to do, so I said yes. I ended up marrying his friend's roommate, deciding to take that random road trip on a whim. No sodas, cutting out beer, bread, and flour products, biking 5 miles a day. I feel a difference in my waistline and my new ring is already loose on me. Well, earlier this year I got an ADHD diagnosis, now have just began meds. I'm in my mid-20s and have lost a good chunk of my early adulthood to PTSD and no treatment. I hope this is the turn of a new leaf. Choosing to eat to live instead of living to eat. I think deciding to change my attitude is what made a big difference in my life. I decided to put a positive spin on life and try to be happier. It might sound stupid, but life is an attitude, and a person can decide if they want to be miserable or happy. Stop drinking soda and switched it with losing weight. Stop caring what people think so much. Everyone's going to have an opinion of you and you can't please everyone. I always run the dishwasher when I wake up. Small task and it sets a productive tone to the whole day. Quit smoking cigarettes. No regrets. Sitting at a table opposite of a 13-year-old boy when I was 12. I waved at him with my stuffed teddy bear to say hi because the boy looked bored. 41 years later, I'm typing this as he sleeps quietly next to me. Life has been a wild ride, but that remains one of the most impacting choices I will ever make in life. 24 years ago, I decided to get coffee before a job interview, which put me in the situation of a car accident. I missed my interview appointment, so I applied at the restaurant where I was waiting for the tow truck. The manager hired me on the spot, and on my first night I met another server who told me that when I walked in, he told the manager he was going to marry me. 1 year later, my oldest son was born. I think of this often. Every day we wake up and our whole lives can change. Sometimes a blessing, other time a curse, but it creates a sense of adventure to acknowledge this and be curious every day. Who knows, maybe missed interview is the greatest thing that will ever happen to you. Stop drinking alcohol. Not to use social media that isn't anonymous. Way happier that way. Giving up alcohol 3 years sober and my mental health has completely transformed. Choosing to say yes to a spontaneous road trip led to unforgettable adventures and meeting lifelong friends. Sleeping early and wake up early. That makes me healthy and productive. Go to a doctor really early. I was diagnosed with a cancer. I don't know how small of I was standing in a room full of people and looked through the light tunnel vision. I saw my future wife. I didn't know was a little blonde just looking at me stirring her drink in a black dress. That was an A. We're married and we are still going 28 years strong. as the Jers have told has maybe 23 months is a horrible thing. I don't regret a minute of our lives together. Thanks for watching.